Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody doing today? Let's see, who do we have here? Caitlin in the morning. I am loving Caitlin's summer schedule because the more Caitlin on life is. Good morning, Jason. Good morning,
Good
Mr.
morning, Tom.
Brofit. How are you doing? Mama Bear, good morning. Caitlin is a 7 presenting this morning and a 6 to 9 page paper due tonight. And what is that emoji? Looks like she's covering her eyes in that emoji. What up, bud? Pretty sure I'm the only person I know that doesn't play a video game slash console game. Okay. I don't I mean console game I don't play TV, but I am hopelessly addicted to a Roblox game that is just destroying my life. Daily Dad air guitar, working, waiting for Dom. Yep, that's what I do too. I'm in the background doing the air guitar. Jason's seen it, like I'm just out here feeling
Yeah,
tired, wiped,
I
maybe
think,
a
I think
four to
that's I
five.
think that's what you do from 6:15 to 6:29.
Yeah,
Air
right. I
guitar.
start the show really early and I just like play that song on repeat. Y'all think you're sick of it. It just like rings in my ear and the show's not even started.
Yeah, I always enjoy Dr. Feelgood's use of the umlaut. That's a great. I love that.
Right? I'm
Bringing
not even
back
sure I
the
know how to
umlaut.
get that on my screen. Yep, bro fits on time today. Caitlin gave him some shit, and then he woke up extra early today and did his morning workout to be fresh and ready for us this morning. What's up, everybody?
I am not feeling very fresh.
You aren't?
No,
What
good
happened? What's going
uh,
on?
knockout sleep last night. I have like a sleep hangover. I think for sure.
Oh, okay.
One of those days, complete opposite of Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I'm here. I'm here, and I made some coffee, and I get to see your face. What better way to wake up?
Right. And I finally after so I'm I'm rolling on some pretty busy and stress-filled weeks. I finally got my clearance yesterday for my city street inspector that I'm done. So I got my building inspector saying I'm done and my street inspector saying I'm done. So now it's just paperwork. So I'm hoping that today I get to walk into the city uh, and get all my paperwork finalized and be able to tell my clients finally uh, that we have our certificate of occupancy and they can move in officially. And then
Awesome.
we can get on schedule for our gas meter so they can get hot water. And yeah, we will be. This is basically my second full new construction job that I courted on my own, like when I started my company, and it is completely successful. Great client relationship, great build, under budget, and exactly on schedule. As far as finishing it, starting in April of last year and finishing June of this year was always the plan. So
That's awesome to hear. Round of applause for Dom. When
yeah,
you
so
say that you're rolling off of stressful weeks or rolling into stressful weeks?
rolling
Sounds like
off
off.
of this is basically off of stressful week. It's been stressful because I've just had to make myself available for these inspectors, and they always, they're known for throwing wrenches at you. Like when you're in this last, like the saying is like the last 30 days of a project takes 90 days. And it's like that kind of thing where it's like 90 days ago, you'd look at the house and be like, yeah, this looks pretty darn close to moving in. And it there's just so much that needs to happen to make it, good and
On
done.
the inside, like the doctor's appointment, prostate check, all that. Make sure the sewage is flowing, all that jazz.
I'm gonna go do that, or you're gonna go do that.
Oh, no, I'm comparing, finishing the house to a doctor's appointment where you gotta check the innards and stuff,
Yeah.
make sure everything's running well.
All right, so BroFit. I'm gonna circle back on all this. Family's good. Dad was in surgery last night. He's out of the hospital today, so that's good. Awesome.
Yeah. Did I
Very
miss
good.
something yesterday? Was that
Yeah,
something planned?
I had asked him yesterday or maybe the day before if he was going to do a workout afterwards, and he said no. He just said dad in the hospital. There were no details really. I had sent him a text on in the later after that, and yeah, he had said something was going on, but they didn't know for sure what was going to happen. So that he was going into surgery. So good.
Good. That's good to hear. We had a neighbor friend go into actually kind of a pretty intense unplanned uh, hospital visit too with staph infection. She's older. She had a fall, went to the hospital, got some pain medications, went home, and then like just started kind of I think just kind of I might have to go in a second.
Okay,
I
no
mean, I
problem.
mean, disappear for a second. Uh, Fell, went to the doctor, ended up like kind of losing consciousness, ended up with a staph infection that was thought to be meningitis from like giving herself a pedicure. So like the infection started in the
Oh
foot,
no.
like flew, went through her entire body, ended up in the hospital for like a week. So we had like everything's good now. Um, I think she's home. No, not home yet. But yeah, it was pretty intense for a while, and it's just like it was so out of the blue from such a random like everyday thing that you do. It just kind of like I've been looking around the house at like all the things that we use every day, right?
Yeah.
Like anything you could do, any like some stupid little fall, or you step on something weird and you get an
Mhm.
infection. It's like we're surrounded by danger every day, you know?
We are very fragile life forms.
We
I
are.
uh I had a story back when I was younger that someone told me, and it's made me like fearful, ever since. And it was something to do with a Q-tip in the ear, like just being cautious about, you know, A, how deep you put the Q-tip in, but B, like what you're doing while you're doing that. Because I guess a friend of a whatever had a Q-tip in the air and then was doing something, and he like hit it, and it just kind of like effed everything up in there and went like partially deaf, like that kind of thing. So I'm like, that's always been like a cautionary tale that's stuck with me like to this day. Like even like just the other day when I was, Q-tipping after a shower, I was like sitting there like, okay, be careful. Don't do anything else. You're walking into the bathroom, watch the door jam. Like
You have to stop moving one thing at a time.
yeah, all that
Uh,
stuff.
it's like the same. It's like when you cut yourself with a knife when you're like cooking. It's like you cut yourself on like some part of your hand, then you realize then you can't use that part of your hand for a while. It's like I'm like useless without this part of my hand, and it
Yeah.
destroys everything because then you're like mopping up. Not mop. Okay, I'm exaggerating here, but it's like you go from just like the
You
routine of
don't mop, Jason.
preparing
Come on.
dinner to like, oh, now I have slight medical emergency here. Uh, like, do I need
Yeah, and
stitches? How deep is it? Is it bleeding still? All that jazz. So sometimes it kind of throws you for a loop.
yes, sir. All right, so David let us in earlier. He read the title.
Hmm.
Reading matches his week. I asked him to tell us more information. I'm still waiting. I like this saying right here, when your flaws become your superpower. So I was thinking about it a little bit, like flaws and stuff like that this morning after reading. And one of the things I've talked about before, and you guys have been so kind as to tell me I don't see that in you, is that like I was always a shy, non-confrontational, non relationship building, like very to myself, not I never got deep, I never got personal, all that stuff. So that was a flaw that I've had my entire life up until about a couple years ago. Um, and I like that because like I kind of feel like that is a little bit my superpower right now. It's definitely helping me a lot in work. Um, I've found myself in situations where, you know, just talking and getting to know someone that much deeper has helped me more than I could have thought it would, especially 10 years ago. Like if you'd have told me, hey man, if you just like sit there and have a conversation with someone, like your days will go so much easier, your inspections will go so much more, you know, on point, your team will, all this stuff. I would have never, yeah. So I love
Yeah,
this conversation.
I can absolutely relate to that too. As a kid, I think not a kid, even teenager in my 20s, definitely not conversationally gifted for sure. And I would definitely say that, like, this particular thing that we do has improved that, you know, many folds, twofold, however many folds. Yeah, just talking to my kids, talking to my wife, talking to random people, dads and moms. Yeah, that was I would never considered it a flaw, but it's been fun acting against it, you know.
Hmm.
Um, Mine, I would definitely say procrastination. Absolutely, 100%.
Gotcha.
And my friend DJ, we hung out yesterday. He was wearing a shirt. He also in education. His shirt was what was the quote? It was um, don't it was like, don't rush me. I'm waiting till the last minute to start, or something like that. Which is like, which is perfect, and it's great, and it totally
For
relates
the
to.
for the Procrastination Club of America.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kate,
Um,
you got a vice president right here. Yeah, Caitlin's here.
and I think that's something that a lot of people have, and I've never like locked down on like one specific operating system to get over that. It's always like you kind of find a tool to help you along with that. That might look like doing a little bit each day, which I've done before, but not consistently.
Yeah.
Maybe consistency. Maybe that's something else too. Consistency of habits. That could also be a flaw. I do fall in and out of like these processes of like the day to day for sure. Um, Definitely wake up like mornings. Got mornings locked down. Like that's been a great adult habit that I've stuck with. But yeah, everything else, it's like we're surrounded by all these tips and techniques that you just kind of like catch online about, like, how to get through that. Um, I got a press. It's right behind me. I got to make these shirts. Got to get it
Right?
going.
We got a couple of shirts going. So do you have the same thing that Caitlin has where the problem is that she gets A's when she procrastinates. So it's like she procrastinates, she does it, she gets it under the fire, and she still turns out good work. Like I feel like that's a common thing with people who, because I'm that way too. I procrastinate quite a bit. Uh, and but you get the good results even if you procrastinate. And a
Um,
lot of people
yes.
aren't sure that they would get those good results if they just did it ahead of time. I think that's the
Yes.
world we're growing up in.
My favorite saying for that, and I don't know if I made it up myself or if I caught it somewhere, but my quote is, "If it weren't for the last minute, I would get nothing done."
Yeah.
Um, and like, yes, do I do really good work when I'm under the gun? Absolutely, but then that also brings the question up: if I didn't wait till the last minute, how much better would I have done this thing, right? And like, is the stress worth it?
Mm,
Like,
mhm.
yes, you're operating on stress, uh, ultimately not the best way to do things, or maybe it is. And that's the question right there, is like, do I need the stress to do my absolute best work? And sometimes I say yes, and sometimes I say stop being an asshole to yourself and start this a little bit early, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like David said earlier, your flaw is your superpower. So your flaw is procrastination, but at the same
I'll be right
time,
back.
it's your superpower. It's gets you those results. Oh man. Chat, you're cracking me up back here. I love the scuba interactions. He toes the line between serious and makes you laugh. I did ask for an extension on my paper since I was in ER. I don't think my professor believed me that I was in the ER. Yeah, well, I mean, how do you prove that? Oh, I mean, I'm sure there's paperwork, but um, whew, sorry. Man, I actually do need the stress without it, zero movement. Yeah, I think that's true too. I mean, I think that's, why this is why the last 2 weeks of my life have been stressful. It's the same thing. I was procrastinating on a lot of things. And I kept putting it as, I got to wait on these inspections. These inspections are difficult. So I got to get every little thing done. I've done this in the past where I've brought inspectors out too early, and some inspectors, they get upset. Uh, that, I've had one inspector tell me, like, I'm not here to do your pickup list for you. Like, get your stuff done and call me when it's done. And he said it in a dick way, but, the words are still true, like, it's not that it is right. So it's just on this one, I was trying to get all these little pieces done and then bring him out, and then I just kind of forgot some other items, just put them to the side because I knew I still had time. So, yeah, procrastination. It's we got it all. We all got it here. Necessary scapegoat and smart butthead. Yeah, I like that. Fine, fine line. Fine line. Very fine line. So what else is going on, man?
Sorry, I just like how we are all rationalizing procrastination here.
We're like a procrastination support group. We're making it okay day in and day out.
Yeah.
Just more and more okay for each other.
Uh,
Whenever, hey, everybody, whenever your spouses tell you that procrastination is your problem, just come back here and we'll make you feel better.
yeah, Kristen is not really,
Yes.
she's not a procrastinator. I think so. Like maybe a question that I have here is like, is there anybody here that has like both partners are procrastinators? What does that look like?
Mm,
Because I'm a procrastinator. Kristen is not. Like we're doing all this packing for our trip here. We're leaving tomorrow. She's been packing for since like Sunday, and like we have a table of like awesomely packed stuff. And I'm always like, yeah, I'll just wait till like Thursday or tomorrow morning or something. Like I started putting clothes. I started a pile on Monday and then like hadn't touched it since then. Because we don't really have space to bring everything else or much else. But yeah, like she has all like the things we might need in a pile, and
yeah.
like I wouldn't have probably wouldn't have thought about it anyway, even if I started early. Um,
Yep. Yeah, that's so Caitlin says that her and her husband are both procrastinators. So very interesting to see how that household goes on trips. But my wife is definitely like your wife. She has a list. She's, adding things to it at every hour. She's, packing, like we use the island in our kitchen as like a staging area for everything. So she's there packing for like the entire family, the kids and all that stuff. And I'll just, come home, shower, change, throw my shit in the bag, and then pack everything in the car and, take us where we need to go. But
Yeah.
Yeah. 90% of those things aren't gonna be used. I love that. Yeah, it is that is true too, like, the amount of stuff that my wife brings, the all that stuff that I don't think about, it's because I'm like, "Look, I'm going somewhere that has everything, so
Mhm.
I just need clothes and my body and my brain," and, so that's all cell phone charger, um, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, alternatively, a thought that I had. This is something that I got in a conversation. If we're talking about like type A and type B people, I would definitely say that like Kristen is definitely like more of a type A person. I'm probably more of a type B person with type A tendencies. Um, uh, and I'm wondering like what does like a double type A house look like?
Mm,
Probably is, probably like full steam ahead. If there's like two people that are both type B that don't necessarily like both people aren't necessarily don't have motivation or uh both people tend to wait for somebody else to make that first move. What
yeah.
does that look like in a situation that might be stressful, you know? Um like if Kristen were like me, would anything happen? you know, uh, those are questions that I have too. So, some gratitude for the differences in me and Kristen today with all this stuff for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a good balance, when you find that person. I think you also kinda grow into a balance, like, there may be some things that, weren't on my list when I first met my wife, but then, as maybe it was something she didn't do, I picked it up and vice versa, I'm sure. So, the balance is key, very, very much for a healthy relationship. Packing
Yeah,
is always a
I
part.
think I think so. So one thing I think is good about that, and if you kind of hit on it, is if you're able to acknowledge those differences, I think that's probably a good thing.
Mhm.
And like actually vocalizing it to your partner is like, you are really good at doing this, so I'm going to give that to you, and then I'll take
Yeah.
care of something else, instead of like waiting for directions or just asking what to do. Is like, okay, so here's how to deal with it, I guess. Like, we can move into this. Is like, you have your flaws, and your parent and your partner probably has flaws. Or maybe you married them because they don't have flaws, I don't know. But like,
You
how do
thought
you
that.
do you deal with those? Do you deal with them? Like, are you aware of them? Do you talk with each other about them? Do you acknowledge your flaws, but also acknowledge what strengths that you have? Like my superpower, I would say, because I procrastinate, is I'm pretty calm and cool as a cucumber in most situations. Like, I really don't freak out ever, in unless like a cat eats something and we have to go to the vet or something like that. So that's the balance. That's the balance that we have here. Is like, I can bring some calmness to a situation where Kristen might be running at like 150%. What other
Like,
flaws do we have, folks? What else do we suck at?
hmm,
Trying to
me,
think.
I can get distracted kinda easily. I definitely have some, like, addiction issues where I seem to be getting addicted to certain things, not like substance abuse, drugs or alcohol or anything like that. But I think it's more of escape stuff. So it's like Netflix, it's like games, it's VFriend streaming, it's all that stuff. It takes me away from things. It pushes me into procrastination sometimes. Procrastinate work and and home stuff, like cleaning pools and date nights and with kids and wife because I'm, too locked in on something. That's probably
Yeah,
my biggest one. I don't know how, you know, facing it. So to face it for a little bit there, I was telling the wife and kids, like, look, this is something that I have, and I want you guys to call me out on it. If you see me on my phone too much, tell me to stop.
yeah.
Ask me to do something.
So I really like what Mama Bear has to say here. I already brought it up once. An ability to acknowledge my personhood and encourage my growth. Something I connect with this in not always taking advantage of the things that I am good at. Like I'm always worried about what what I'm I don't think that I'm naturally good at trying to put this into words here. I don't think that I'm naturally good at taking advantage of the things that I'm really good at. Like,
Okay.
for example, um, like uh, I've been a graphic designer for. It's part of my skill set. It's part of my wheelhouse. Okay, and it's definitely something that if I were to focus on, it could bring some financial benefits. Now, part of that is like I've moved on. I'm a teacher now, and I use that. It's more of like a skill that I use and all that stuff. Um, and it's also something that if I were to focus on, could probably bring some financial benefits too.
Hmm.
But I think I make excuses to not jump on that, where I keep saying like, "Oh, I don't have the time. I'm not a good business person. I'm not really good at I'm not good at giving myself credit for what I'm good at for what I'm good at, like in trying to focus on the point here. I also struggle at finding the right words sometimes, like right now, and saying a lot of words. But I'm not good. Sometimes I'm not good at like giving myself credit where maybe I deserve credit where I could do something. If I'm talking about specifically finances here, it's like I'm not jumping on the skills that I have right now. And I keep worrying and I keep getting tied into, well, what else can I do? What other thing can I get into to, generate some passive income or something instead of like I'm sitting here on 30 odd years of experience of something
Hmm.
and looking somewhere else, and really like diving into something that I could make productive or sticking with it.
And it's very interesting because I feel like your brother is very good about starting things.
Oh yeah,
Like
he's like
just
I haven't I've talked to him. Had to actually talk to Ryan a few days ago. Good conversation, but yeah, he's really on. It seems like he's really on top of whatever these 30 different businesses he's doing. I don't know. I don't know what. Seems like he keeps starting things, which is great. I'm not really sure how they're going.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
I was
like
just giving him
jumping
credit for
on like little
starting I was
skills.
giving him credit for starting things. I don't know how the rest of it goes. It may be downhill after that, but, it kinda seems like he could be like a resource for you to help get you there if you needed to, but I also know that the way that he goes really fast and it may be a little too fast for you.
Yeah. Good question. Top three favorite things in the whole wide world outside of family.
Scuba trying to extend our time limit here.
Yeah.
Drop it,
Um,
like, literally drop the question at 6 AM. It's closing time, sir.
yeah.
Um,
I'm not in a particular rush.
yeah, I know. My favorite things are, people who dress up in scuba suits. Yeah, right. That 30 minutes will set my ride. Who's never here? Look, it's a pretty good rule because it keeps this thing like fresh and quick. Like, yeah, I don't mind going 5 or 10 minutes over at all. Um, you know, no problem at all. Like this is my morning time where I am doing my thing, and part of my thing is you guys. So I have no problem giving you guys a little bit more time, especially the chat's rolling and on fire, which I've really appreciated today. Wish there was like a count on how many messages. I'm just really curious if we ever like hit a high, you know.
Seems like
Long,
today is one of those days for sure.
long walks on the beach are even short walks on the beach. That's probably up there in my favorite things. I think just like being in nature, like in general, like whether it's a forest, a lake, a river, snow, like I thoroughly enjoy that. So I would add that to my list of favorite things outside
Yeah.
of my family.
One thing that I like doing, and this kind of refers back to procrastination, when I do get that fire under my butt to get things done, um,
Hmm.
or maybe I'm not procrastinating, but it's something bigger. Like let's say for teaching, when I'm like when I'm planning a lesson, and it might be like that night before. The things that I get really into that might be a distraction that that maybe it's like a form of procrastination is like my lessons come with slides. I build out a slide deck.
Hmm.
The things that I get really into are like those really little processes that kind of give me guardrails. Like like I'm kind of a formatting geek. Like when I'm planning and I'm tired, or maybe it's last minute, I get really into, for example, it's like, ooh, well, now I got to justify everything so everything's lined up perfectly.
Yeah.
And I get really into those little things that like, yes, it's part of the product, but is it the most important thing at the time? No, not really. Those are the things that I think those are kind of like little things, um, little distractions that kind of take the pressure off of the larger deadline. Um,
Gotcha. But are
one,
still important as far as presentation and everything like that.
yeah, school.com.
I'm gonna warn everybody, be careful with Scuba Steve links. I've heard they tend to go to his Feedify page. So just be careful.
Feedify. What's Feedify? Do I need to know that? No, that's going to be a distraction. Scuba Steve's trying to throw us off here.
I mean, it could be legit. Like I said, he toes the line like better than anyone I've ever seen between serious and strange.
I'm looking up right now.
What a what's AA, David? What are you seeing? I saw you reference that earlier. Give me a little bit more context. That is my superpower flaw. I tend to be the guardrail setter and bring things back on point. Where you can teach people stuff and get paid for it. Not true, dude.
Is that what? Sorry, was that a description of school? I'm looking here.
It may be. It may be a description of, yes, Alex Hermosi's teaching site where you can teach people stuff and get paid for it. Is I think what he's
Um,
saying.
the first one here is the Brotherhood of Scent, with some bearded guys sniffing perfume.
All right.
Great. That's something that I'm totally going to click on and lose an hour today because pickleball school.
Scuba's gonna send you down a rabbit hole.
This is like an
Literally,
entire
calligraphy,
page of
journaling,
rabbit
crafting,
holes
anything.
that I'm
Gotcha.
totally going to click on and lose time today.
So
Thanks, Steve.
he's saying you can jump in there and you can do teaching videos of graphic design work or painting or whatever and make income of it while doing the things that you either like to do or the commission work that you're doing.
Scuba Steve is like the kid in the hallway where you're walking to class and he's behind you, like kicking your feet so you trip right now. This is
Hmm.
But thank you, Steve. I'll check this out here. It actually does kind of look interesting.
Yeah. Chasing shiny objects. Whew.
Yeah.
All right.
Looking for the next thing for sure. Or that's something else. 13 years. I have 13 years of teaching content. 13 years, and I will sit for like 10 minutes, like before a class starts, and like build a whole new slide deck where it's like I probably already have this, but I'm
Oh
doing
yeah.
like those things where it's like,
There's a teaching website where you can put your resources online and sell them to other teachers. Have you looked at that?
say one more time.
So you know Ann Bag?
Yeah.
So that's what she does. She used to be a teacher or an administrative person, and then she was making um resources like what you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
and like aligning them and doing all that stuff. And then she put it on this website. I can't remember. It's like teachers helping teachers or
Oh,
something like
yeah.
that.
Teachers pay teachers, which I do
Yeah.
have an account, and I touch from time to time, and like you'll see stories of like this teacher made six figures by doing teachers pay teachers, which is a great concept. And like I have stuff, and then my blockage point is like yes, you can do that, but the amount of time it takes to get to even like three figures is a while because they take such a big percentage of
Yeah.
those of the revenue that it takes a long time. And the content is like, let's say I sell a slide deck. If teachers want to buy something, they probably don't have a huge budget, so it's like you really got to price
Hmm.
it like a worksheet that you spend like 2 hours on designing. You might have to sell it for like $1 or $2 to make it accessible. Um, and that's my catch point. It's like I don't have the time to develop that body on there, or maybe
Gotcha.
that's another weakness of mine is finding excuses why I can't do something, right? Um, and just being a negative Nancy.
100%. School is 2.9% of all monthly transactions.
Okay.
Something to look into. Not a self-starter can find a need and fill it. Not a volunteer to lead it can totally support that leader, the encourager.
Not a stealth. Ooh, that's a good man. We keep really appreciating like our chat today, and it keeps bringing up all these great conversation points. Yeah,
I know
not a
they're on
self
fire
starter.
today.
Here's a habit that I have, and maybe you guys can relate. When something starts, when someone starts something really good, I find that I get into I take on the role of how can I help,
Hmm.
and maybe a way to describe that is grabbing onto the coattails.
Well, I like
Yeah,
what the way she put it is the encourager.
yeah, the encourager, supporter, where it's like I could probably do something like this myself. Like I guess maybe a good example is with Ryan starting all this dad stuff. Um, like I when he shared it, like I immediately was like, oh, this is great. How can I help?
Yeah.
Um, where it's like I'm not really thinking of like the things that I could do myself. Where it's like it's something that I can grab onto to either progress or learn something, or do something else. Zero does. Yeah, cheerleader, podcast interview.
All right, people. Let's wrap this up. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you, chat. Like
this was good.
seriously, this was a good one.
We should
went
talk
all over the place.
flaws more. This is like a little therapy session.
Right? I know.
For sure.
It really sparked something in you all. So good stuff. You guys were all vibing off of each other. We appreciate you so much. We'll be back tomorrow. We can continue this. We can bring up anything you guys want. You know how it is.
Is
You
Mama
guys,
Bear, is Mama Bear talking about an interview with her? I think I caught. I think
I
I
think
missed.
David does a podcast, so I think he was possibly throwing the line out there to interview her on
Oh,
his podcast. I think that's the way I read that. So yeah.
cool. Right.
You guys hit each other in DMs.
I gotta poop, y'all. I gotta run.
See, there you go. All right, bye everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming, Jason. Thank you as always. Love you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, and yeah, later.
See you guys. Kill it today.